think that people are afraid. I think people are afraid to be different, and if you want to step outside the box, as she said, then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm alone. But you have to realize that you're not alone, and that there are other people like you. And if you really want to be different, then you have to just go find those people, because they are out there. And I think they're afraid to be alone, and they're afraid to, just, even though they've already had a label put on them, because, oh, well, I like everything that everybody else like. And I personally don't like being a follower, because I just think that if you allow other people to make decisions for you, then you're sacrificing your own free will, and you're sacrificing your own mind. And I think it's important that people realize that they have a mind for a reason, and that they should make their own decisions, but also you have to influence people positively. And if you don't influence people positively, then they're gonna want to stay, and they'll be distracted because there's nobody around them that wants to make them better. So I think everybody should just try to find a more positive attitude, and that, like people are saying, like, even if you affect one person, that one person, could affect another, and affect, a couple more people, and then hundreds of people, and then it could be a really big movement.
Pat, do you feel that the Freedom Theater is a good place for young people to be different and to share their ideas?
Absolutely. Because your other question, the previous question was what touches you or what motivates you. And I think that one of the things that motivates me and is in this theater is your cultural voice. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody has to decide how they're going to touch the world. As a choreographer, I am very historically and culturally connected. That when I do a project, I usually learn the history, I learn the history of the music, the history of the culture, the history of the times, and then I'm able to connect with it in some way. And what I find interesting is that when we're working with young people, we work the same way, even though it's present day and going into the future. So for example, we're doing a show called Safety Street right now, where we're taking a look at how to teach safety tips to young people in a very kind of more modern, kind of funky way, that they'll really listen about traveling safety and not talking to strangers and not starting fires or causing false alarms and things like that. And so what we did is we have a cast of people where we ask them for their cultural voice. Mm-hmm. We play trash cans and buckets and, like literally take the trash that's out in the street and kind of make it a musical instrument. Well, we asked the young people, well, how would you do that? And they came up with a way of doing it. They came up with their own spoken word, which is, that's a new form of communication. When they started talking about safety, at my age, I'm thinking about fire safety. At their age, they're talking about internet safety. They're talking about texting. They're talking about a whole lot of things. They came up with scenes. Abria assisted in writing a song. Jazir assisted in coming up with scenes. Khalil developed the character Mr. Safety that's really kind of hip and does a lot of hoofing. So finding your cultural voice is not just about the past. Finding your cultural voice is about the present going into the future. Mm. And I feel that they have that opportunity to do that as an individual here at Freedom Theater. Being different is okay here.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys feel that modern technology has hindered that or has helped your cultural past and your cultural future to be put out there to the people?
My deal is this: you have to be willing to see it in a certain way, and this is how I see it. I think technology is a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. It's what you choose to do with it. You can either choose to handle it in a positive way. The internet right now, it's a beautiful tool. It's a beautiful thing. You can go onto the internet. You can find anything you want. It's just a matter of what are you looking for. And if you're looking for your culture and your heritage and you're looking for things that's going to uplift you, I think technology is a beautiful thing. And at the same time, it can be a hindrance if you allow it to be a hindrance. It's just, it's your choice. What do you choose to do with it? And I think that's one of the biggest things. It comes down to choice. How do you choose to use it?
Yeah, I completely agree with Mr. Khalil. I think that the internet technology, it was created by people, so whatever you decide to do with it, if you decide to use it destructively, then that's your choice. But if you decided to use it to find out about your history, it's definitely something good. But I don't think that the technology itself is the hindrance, because the technology can't make the decisions for you.
I kind of think that technology has hindered people in terms of culture. I mean, because if you look at the well-established cultures in the world, they're alive, they're living, they're being passed from person to person in a very village-like structure. I mean, everybody comes together to keep the culture alive. It's preserved. I mean, with the internet, I mean, it gets out there, but it's only out there if you research it. Whereas if you're living with it every day, it becomes part of you, and you can pass it on to the next generation and next generation, because we aren't living with it, because it's just, oh, well, it's there if you want it. With that sort of attitude, it being there if you want it, just kind of, gives it the option of not, no longer existing. It could possibly fade away, because if nobody wants it, then nobody's going to go get it, and then we don't have it. It gets, lost in the internet sea. But if you're living with it, it stays with you, it continues to grow, it changes, and that's part of it being alive. So, I mean, I think it's just kind of like a preserved corpse right now.
Sure. Because years ago, as actors and performers and musicians and directors and producers, before there was the internet, you had to get your headshots, you had to mail your headshots out, you had to mail your resumes out, you had to make demo tapes. There were no digital cameras where you could buy at like $100 and then shoot your own demo tape and then send it out via the internet, email, that sort of thing. Given that, do you feel that that technology, that aspect of technology has helped you, or in some sort of insidious way hurt you?
I think it helped us.
Okay.
As an actor, you have, so I look at my phone. I can email my headshot.
Just like
I can email my cover letters. I can receive. I can send my reel via my phone. Again, I think it's how you use it. I think technology in terms of the arts is a great thing. It opens up more opportunities, because here now if I get a camera, I can make my own. I can make my own movie. I can find a distributor all online. And then I'm able to have my voice heard via technology. It's how you use it. I think it all boils down to how you use it.
So that's one vote for it.
I am.
Now I know,
totally
Jazeera, you kind of like reacted when I said that. How do you feel about it?
I'm still kind of against it. And here's why.
Tell us why.
The reason
Look
I'm
right in there and tell us why.
the reason why is because, like, life is a very social thing. I understand, talking to people online, and you can get it around there. It takes 7 seconds to get whatever you need across the globe. It's amazing. It's fantastic. And it does do great things for your opportunities. I mean, if you need to get it out there, you can talk to somebody on the other side of the planet about an opportunity. You can make things happen. However, you need to talk to people. Technology is, people don't talk to each other now. Entire relationships have been conducted through cell phones. People don't even see each other now. It's just, they don't even talk to them. They don't go to each other. I mean, it was the most ridiculous thing I heard. People have relationships online. How do you have a relationship online? You've never met the person, you've never seen the person. It's like that. And in the art form, I think you can communicate with people to a certain extent, through technology. But I think it always comes down to seeing the person face to face, getting there, seeing them, being there with them. So you don't know what you're actually dealing with until you're there. I mean, and that's just the picture. Right.
Okay, so that's one vote against. Abria?
I'm for it, because I still don't think that that's technology's fault. I think it's the people who use it. If you decide, if you say, okay, like, I'm going to text you, but I still want to see you in person, I don't think you know, I can say, oh, I'm just going to call you because I don't want to see you anymore. Like, that's just your personal, like, that's not technology's fault. It's there, but like Mr. Glow said, it's how you use it. It's not, I'm for it.
Okay, that's for it. Okay, Pat, you're a tiebreaker.
Here we go.
Wow.
Here we go. This is it. You're on the spot now.
Well, I have to say that I am a little, I don't want to pass judgment. But I have to say that I'm leaning a little bit towards Jazir's point of view. Okay.
Tell us why.
But I agree with everybody. It's how you use it. And I feel that just because you have something and can do something doesn't mean that you should. And I think that the technology is so vast, so phenomenal, so instantaneous, that we don't actually know what we're getting into until after we've done it. And there's certain things in life that you should just learn about relationships that sometimes with the technology you're not able to. I'm going to take something that's very simple that you wouldn't even think about. When children now have cell phones, and they leave the house and they go to school, and they have their cell phone, and that means that they can contact their parent at any given time. That's a wonderful thing when you think about it. You say, I can contact my child can contact me at any given time. However, it's how you use it. I've had students come in and they have called their parent to come pick them up and haven't even spoken to me. It's how they use it. Okay? So now I'm responsible for that child, but because of this technology, they're able to circumvent certain things.
Yeah, it's like a step was taken out, or a block,
right?
A building block that was
removed. When we were kids, you know, we would be in the schoolyard, I might push somebody and we would get angry in the morning. By lunchtime, we had figured out what our disagreement was, and by the end of school, we were okay with it. Now kids, you know, bump each other, get on the cell phone, they call their parent is up at school. They don't have an opportunity. Part of life is being involved in certain kinds of friction, but learning how to navigate your way out of that friction. And with technology, so quick, you can't do it. You know, like right now as a kid, I'm burning up about what happened to me, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and guess what? By 1 o'clock that afternoon, I may not feel the same way. But if I act on it instantaneously at 10 o'clock, I don't get an opportunity to cool off and have some other type of,
Or if I go ahead and put it on Facebook and
Right.
I get together my flash mob and meet on South Street or something like that, then there's a big riot, and then there's a whole big thing that
Yeah.
could have been avoided if you stuck to the original DNA building block that was there, that was
Right.
meant to be. Because, you know, it's interesting because I remember, like, you know, we're talking about the headshots and stuff. Back in the day when you didn't have a computer to do your video or film. Well, there was no video. You did film editing on the reel-to-reel.
Right.
You know, you cut, you splice, you paste together. It took hours and hours to put one piece together. Now, you dump everything into a Mac computer. You hit a couple buttons, there are transitions and things like that, and you know, you're done in an hour. You know, but still, there's that aesthetic of working through laboriously and developing ways to do it. You train your mind, you train your hands to do things. And the same thing with magazine and newspaper productions. I remember the days where we actually did paste up, cut, and paste. Now everything is scanned into the computer, put up there nice and pretty and perfect. But still, you know, you don't get to experience the mistakes that you learn from. You know, and it's important to learn from your mistakes. I want to talk about spirituality for a moment, and if any of you guys have any spirituality that affects your lives and affects what you do as far as being an actor, performer, singer, musician. Does God come into your life at all to speak to you, to tell you you should do this, you shouldn't do that? Or does he guide you at all?
I think the Creator definitely guides you. I consider myself a very spiritual person in terms of surrendering. I think it's really important to be able to surrender and listen. As a performer, I think the best performer is a great listener. And when you can listen to a more higher power, then you're able to see things in a greater vision. So being able to do that and just surrendering over to that and opening up yourself to listen is a very, very important tool to have.
I believe that at a certain point as a performer, you have to ask yourself, why are you doing this? And if you're doing it because of the money, or if you're doing it because you love to do this and it's something that you want to share with the world and whoever you're performing for. And I think in a way that God speaks to you in that way, no matter, it doesn't matter how he does it. If he says, do you see a flyer on the table? If you see, or audition for this because you love, like if I saw an audition paper for Rent, I definitely apply for that. So, and I'd be like, oh, well, maybe that's a sign. I believe in stuff like that, and I believe that there are certain things that, like Mr. Khalil said, there's a difference between, for me, there's a difference between hearing and listening. If you hear somebody, you're just like, okay, they're talking, womp, womp, womp. And then there's listening, whereas if you take the information that you've been given and you use it. And I believe that there are just certain things that come from within that you just have to, mold within yourself as a performer.
One of the things I find interesting about, in terms of spirituality, is a sort of degree of separation most people have. They picture up, down. I'm here, God's there. Whereas, I kind of take a different, view on things. Whereas I identify, deity in everything. So when I perform, am I harming everyone by what I'm doing? Or, this is a morality thing. That's where morality sort of comes in on a spiritual level. When I'm performing, is what I'm saying, is what I'm about to say, what I'm about to do, is the character I'm creating or the actions I'm taking. When I put this out there, when it's received, is it going to collectively damage everyone? Is it collectively uplift? Can it hit one person, and can that one person go somewhere else and maybe convey the same information? Maybe they heard it differently. Maybe I said something that would have hurt everybody else, but hit one person differently, and they go to another place and convey the message in a more uplifting manner, and it aids all of mankind. So I have to look at that sort of thing when I'm performing, and that's one of the things that's kind of cycling through my brain as I'm on stage.
There's a saying, everything that you ever wanted to know about life you learn in kindergarten. And I believe that everything that you ever want to know about life usually starts with your spiritual education when you're a young person. And I think that the most simplistic lessons that you learn as a young person about how to treat another person, how to treat yourself, how to go about life and make life a little bit better, the parables that are told that teach you life lessons, I think are very, very important out of your spiritual education. And I feel that if everybody followed the basic tenets of their spiritual education, we would not have problems. Okay, we would not have problems because it has all the solutions there. All the solutions are there for us to be able to follow. And so I feel that being here at Freedom Theater, being on stage, is a part of a larger mission. Some people are going to go to Haiti, okay, and help there. Some people are going to be missionaries someplace else. I feel that the art form communicates, is my way of communicating some of my spiritual basic education and being able to lead by example, okay? And so I think the spirituality is just very important. It's just very important. I think that you have to just really understand that you're a part of a whole, and that you make the whole stronger by being positive.
How can someone get involved with the training program through New Freedom Theater?
You would call the theater. The number is 215-765-2793, and you would ask for the admissions department. And once you've decided that you want to become an instructor after you, I'm sorry, once you realize that you want to become a student after you hear the information, then you would sign up for a sample class. And the sample class is free. You can come in, take class, find out if this program is for you, and then you would enroll after that. And we have advanced classes. So we have a basic class for acting, dance, and vocal arts for preschoolers, preteens, teens, and adults. And then we have the more advanced classes, and those advanced classes are the ones that perform in the shows like Safety Street. And this year, we'll probably be doing Safety Street again in the summer, but we will also be doing Journey of a Gun. So we're looking at young people to be involved in those types of things.
And in closing, in one word, could you guys describe yourselves? Think for a moment.
One word. I have 3.
Okay. All right. Let's give you guys 3 words.
Oh.
I just made it a little harder.
Yeah.
Thanks, Khalil.
No, I'm sorry. My name is Khalil Munir, and I'm a loving, creative, powerful leader.
My name is Sabrina Hollander, and I am honestly a young, gifted, and black woman.
My name is Jazir Terrell, and I am amorphous, exuberant, and imaginative.
Ms. Pat?
My name is Patricia Scott Hobbs, and I'm strong, I'm capable, and blessed.
I want to thank you guys for being here on the Actors Lounge. It was a blessing to have you all here to talk about the New Freedom Theater, and also yourselves. Have a great day. We appreciate you coming by, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are on the set of Revelation Blue, day 1 of shooting with actors Nicholas Torrance and Samantha Wishnia. How you guys doing?
Doing great, doing great. Hoping this rain clears up a little bit so we can get started.
Okay, great. Tell us a little bit about your characters and what you're doing here today.
My character, my name is Nicholas Torrance. I'm playing Devin Blue, who is the lead in Revelation. And Devin is pastor, or a former pastor, that left the church to become a detective. And the story, basically the story revolves around him and his relationship, also with a very close friend who's kind of a mentor and looks out for Annie, who Samantha plays. And what it really does is kind of delve into his struggle of leaving the pastorhood and becoming a detective and kind of entering mainstream society, and his struggles with realizing he's lived his whole life and he will continue to live his whole life, having faith and living by God's morals and principles, but realizing how far society, in many ways in his opinion, has strayed from that. And I think a lot of, I really love the script and the idea, because I think every one of us has struggles of what you have faith and passion for and what you want to do in your life, and then also what society, the pressures that they put on you. And I think what this series is going to be about is really all about faith.
I think faith is definitely a big part of it, because my character, Annie Stevens, seems to depend on Devin Blue, because when he was the pastor at the church, they had a close friendship, which they have maintained, but his role as a pastor was kind of what confirmed her faith for her. And now that he's gone, and now that he's not in that position anymore, she finds herself wavering and struggling. And she encounters internal battles that deal with almost prophetic visions coming from inside of her. And she doesn't know whether or not this is something important, or that she's crazy. And I think Devin Blue is a very important role model for her. And he affirms that she still is a person, and he affirms that maybe whatever she is hearing or whatever she is experiencing may have some legitimacy. And I think she really struggles with her sense of self. Like, at first glance, she seems like a normal kid, but she's probably had many formative experiences that have made her into who she is, and she seems like the kind of person who needs someone as her rock. And that's why she struggles with Devin Blue's sort of new position in society, and it affects her, and it affects the choices that she will make. So it is about balancing faith with self-awareness and making the right decisions, and how other people can really determine that for you.
You know, Devin is a very, very cool, calm, and collected character, and confident. But just like any other human being, deep down, he obviously has his fears a little bit of, you know, he felt a calling to leave the pastorhood and become a detective. And he knows that there's some sort of spiritual or higher being that's guiding him towards something. He doesn't know what that is yet. And so you'll see throughout the series and the story, that he tries to reaffirm when Annie comes to him and shows how upset she is at his decision. He really is firm in saying, this is what I'm doing now. And almost without saying it, he wants to say, look, I'm scared too, but this is what I have to do. But I am still here for you. And learn from this, because in life, when you grow up and as you go through life, you're going to be faced with these same decisions where you just know you need to do something. You don't know why, and you know it's going to be extremely difficult. But that's the true test that makes people who they are in this world.
How do you think you guys play off of each other? What's the importance of playing off each other?
Go ahead.
First of all, I think in previous series, Onyx, we did play brother and sister. He was my older brother. The dynamic was different in the sense that you were making destructive decisions as that character, and I was silently concerned until a certain point. But because of that dynamic, I mean, and it is a very similar dynamic that we have with these two characters, because he is sort of a support figure for her. And I think that having that established, we can really act out that kind of relationship, because in a way, like brother and sister, they do depend on each other.